So as everybody's preparing, I won't stand by the speaker. Sorry about that, guys. As everybody's preparing, we just really need to acknowledge how much work and effort all of our students have done. They've done phenomenal, don't you think? Don't they? I mean, your jaw drops. That like Phil will go up there and your jaw will just drop because he'll say something so amazing and so profound. And just all the prayers that have gone into this. But our theme has been forgiveness. And we're going to start with some scenarios on how the students can remember. And you'd be amazed how many times we're in class and we'll start talking about something and they'll finish a song or they'll finish a sentence and they'll tell me that was youth takeover in so-and-so year. They don't forget. It's like the dancing. It gets in their hands, it gets in their feet, and they don't forget. But our theme has been forgiveness. And I was thinking about how we could maybe define forgiveness. I think we can define it best by its opposite, unforgiveness. There's no fruit in unforgiveness. There's no peace in unforgiveness. If our students can learn how important unforgiveness was to the Lord, to God himself, his whole life was about forgiveness. His whole life was given for forgiveness. And if we forget that, we don't know him at all. And until we can conform to that image and do that which he did, which is to obey and to forgive, I really honestly don't think we can know him. And that's what we want more than anything else. Our prayer for our students has been that his word would go forth and accomplish what he purposed for it to do. So please prepare your hearts. They've worked really hard, and just try to hear what the Lord is saying through them and pray for them that they will get this message for their whole lives. And this is from Genesis 44, and it's the story of Joseph and the forgiveness that he offered to his brothers.
Then he ordered the manager of his household, fill the men's packs with food as much as they can carry, and put each man's money just inside his pack, and put my goblet, the silver one, just inside the pack of the youngest, along with his grain money. He did what Yosef told him to do. At daybreak, the men were sent off with their donkeys.
Start walking, guys.
But before they were far from the city, Yosef said to his manager, "Up, go after the men, and when you overtake them, say to them, 'Why have you repaid good with evil? Isn't this the goblet my Lord drinks from? Indeed, the one he uses for divination. What have you done is evil.' So he caught up with them and said these words to them. Then each hurried to put his pack down on the ground, and each one opened his pack.
Open your backs.
He searched, starting with the oldest and ending with the youngest. And the goblet was found in the pack belonging to Benjamin. At this, they tore their clothes from grief.
Very close.
Then each man loaded up his donkey and returned to the city.
Donkey. No.
Yehuda and his brothers arrived at Joseph's house, and he was still there, and they fell down before him on the ground.
Now fall down before Joseph. Fall down. Fall down before. Fall down before.
Joseph said to them, "How could you do such a thing? Don't you know that a man such as myself can learn the truth by divination?" Yehuda said, "There is nothing we can say to my lord. How can we speak? There's no way we can clear ourselves. God has revealed your servant's guilt, so here we are, my lord's slaves, both we and also the one in whose possession the cup was found." But he replied, "Heaven forbid that I should act in such a way. The man in whose possession the goblet was found will be my slave. But as for you, go in peace to your father." Then Yehuda approached Joseph and said, "I beg you, let your servant stay as a slave to my lord instead of the boy, and let the boy go up with his brothers. For how can I go up to my father if the boy isn't with me? I couldn't bear to see my father so overwhelmed by anguish." At last, Joseph could no longer control his feelings in front of his attendants and cried, Get everybody away from me."
Not brothers, just because of
So no one else was with him when Joseph revealed to his brothers who he was. He wept aloud, and the Egyptians heard, and Pharaoh's household heard.
loud. Louder. There you go.
Joseph said to his brothers, "I am Joseph. Is it true that my father is still alive?" His brothers couldn't answer him. They were so dumbfounded at seeing him. Joseph said to his brothers, "Please come closer." And they came closer. He said, "I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into Egypt. But don't be sad that you sold me into slavery here or angry at yourselves, because it was God who sent me ahead of you to preserve life. The famine has been over the land for the last 2 years, and for yet another 5 years. There will be neither plowing nor harvest. God sent me ahead of you to ensure that you will have descendants on earth and to save your lives in a great deliverance. So it was not you who sent me here, but God. And he has made me a father to Pharaoh, lord of all his household, and ruler over the whole land of Egypt."
Jonah had gone down below into the hold, where he lay fast asleep. The ship's captain found him and said to him, "What do you mean by sleeping? Get up." Call on your God. Maybe the God will remember us, and we won't die. They said to each other, "Come, let's draw lots to find out who is to blame for this calamity." They drew lots. Okay. Jonah was singled out. They said to him, "Tell us now, why has this calamity come upon us? What do you work for? Where are you from? What is your country? Which is your people?" He answered them, "I am a Hebrew. I fear Adonai, the God of heaven, who made both the sea and the dry land." At this, the men grew very afraid and said to them, "What is this that you have done?" For the men knew he was trying to get away from Adonai, since he had told them. They asked him, "What should we do to you so that the sea will be calm for us?" The sea was getting rougher all the time. Pick me up, he told them, and throw me into the sea. The sea will be calm for you, because I know that it is my fault that this terrible storm has come over you. Nevertheless, the men rowed hard, trying to reach the shore. But they couldn't, because the sea kept growing wilder against them. Finally, they cried to Adonai, "Please, Adonai, please, don't let us perish for the causing of the death of this man, and don't hold us to account for shedding of innocent blood, because you, Adonai, have done what you saw fit." Then they picked up Jonah and threw him into the sea, and the sea stopped raging. Okay. They seized with great fear of Adonai. They offered a sacrifice to Adonai and made vows. Adonai spoke. Wait, hold up. Adonai prepared a huge fish to swallow Jonah. And Jonah was in the belly of the fish for 3 days and 3 nights. From the belly of the fish, Jonah prayed to Adonai, his God. Okay. Then Adonai spoke to the fish, and it vomited Jonah onto dry land. Word of Adonai came to Jonah a second time. "Set out for the great city of Nineveh and proclaim to it the message I will give you." So Jonah set out and went to Nineveh as Adonai had said. Now Nineveh was such a large city that it took 3 days just to cross it. Jonah began his entry into the city and had finished it only in his first day of proclaiming. 40 days, Nineveh will be overthrown. When the people of Nineveh believed God, they proclaimed a fast and put on sackcloth, from the greatest of them to the least. When the news reached the king of Nineveh, he got up from his throne, took off his robe, put on sackcloth, and sat in ashes. He then had this proclamation made throughout Nineveh. By decree of the kings and his nobles, no person or animal, herd or flock, is to put anything in his mouth. Okay. They must be covered with sackcloth, both people and animals. And they are to cry out to God with all their might. Let each of them turn from his evil ways and from the violence they practice. Who knows? Maybe God will change his mind, relent, and turn from his fierce anger. And then we won't perish.
So our last skit is going to be the prodigal son, which we've done a lot of singing to. We've done a lot of running, and I think that's the whole point of it. The prodigal son is to remind us that we need to run with all of our heart. Anytime we feel the need to go back to the Father, even if it's just right away, or maybe you've gone a little farther than you wanted, don't forget that sin always takes you farther than you want and keeps you longer than you wanted to be there. So you definitely want to, a second you think, I can go back to the Father, run. Just like we did in the dances, just like John did, and in the flags. The prodigal son, our God, as I said, is such a loving, forgiving Father. Everything about him is forgiving. And he sent his son just for that reason. And when he was praying in the Gethsemane, he was praying to the Father, and it was the Father who made sure that forgiveness was made. So this will be our prodigal son. And this one we hope will get into their feet and their hands for their whole life. Amen.
Again, Yeshua said, a man had 2 sons. The younger of them said to his father, Father, give me the share of the estate that will be mine. So the father divided the property between them. As soon as he could convert his share into cash, the younger son left home and went off to a distant country where he squandered his money in reckless living. But after he had spent it all, severe famine arose throughout the country, and he began to feel the pinch. So he went and attached himself to one of the citizens of that country, who sent him into his fields to feed pigs. He longed to fill his stomach with the carob pods the pigs were eating, but no one gave him any. At last he came to his senses and said, any number of my father's hired workers have food to spare, and here I am, starving to death. I'm going to get up and go back to my father and say to him, Father, I've sinned against heaven and against you. I'm no longer worthy to be called your son. Treat me like one of your hired workers. So he got up and started back to his father. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was moved with pity. He ran and threw his arms around him and kissed him warmly. His son said to him, Father, I've sinned against heaven and against you. I'm no longer worthy to be called your son. But his father said to his slaves, Quick, bring out a robe, the best one, and put it on him, and put a ring on his finger and shoes on his feet. And bring the calf that has been fattened up and kill it. Let's eat and have a celebration. For this son of mine was dead, but now he's alive again. He was lost, but now he has been found. And they began celebrating.